How's it going, guys? Dan here for BladeReviews.com, taking a look at the Benchmade Onslaught. Yep, I've really got a blade to review today for you. It is a big and bad tactical folder from our good friends over at Benchmade. Let's do some quick specs and then launch right into the review. It's got a 4.3 inch blade, an overall length of 9.6 inches, and it weighs a pretty heavy 6.8 ounces. So make no mistakes, this is the full-size Onslaught. It's a big blade. They also make a quote-unquote mini Onslaught, which I think still sports like a 3.5 inch long blade. So if you're looking for something a little more practical, I would check out the mini Onslaught. I wish I had one for you that I could show in this video, but unfortunately I just have the full-size one today. And while I'm on the subject of the sizes and this and that, let's talk about what you might use this for. In my opinion, this knife is mainly a collectible for me. Like I said, it's just too big really for me to EDC. If you can EDC it, I mean, rock on. I know some people EDC, like katanas or something from the sounds of what people can EDC, and I think that's great if you can swing it, but for me it's a little too big to be EDC'd, and the blade is a little thin to really use as a hard use knife or like a dedicated tactical knife. I think it could work maybe if you are like a martial artist into blade arts and stuff like that, because it could be a very devastating weapon. Let's face it, it's got plenty of reach. So if you're going to use it in that capacity, I think it could work. But for me, more of an average Joe kind of user, I think it kind of stays more in the collectible department for me. Anyhow, it doesn't really matter. Let's talk about the blade on this thing. And it is a nice big piece of 154 cm. Not a very thick piece, but good length on there. And I just love the blade shape. You've got a ton of belly. It's kind of a modified clip point design. Upswept blade. Nice long swedge. Pretty much a full flat grind there. And take a look though. That is, not gonna lie, it's pretty thin, and again, I would just be very careful with this tip, so depending on what you want to use it for. One thing that's interesting about this knife is it's been given a very light stone wash, so I don't know if we'll be able to really see it, but it looks like from a distance that it's a satin finish, but when you take a closer look, it's a satin finish, but they have applied a very light and nice stone wash to it, so pretty neat. And that's pretty much it for the blade. Let's take a look at the handle here. It is G10. Not a very grippy piece of G10, but for such an elegant knife, I think it totally works. And it's got a big handle anyway, so grip isn't really my primary concern when you've got such a big handle to begin with. And take a look at that nice texture that resulted when they smoothed this out. Almost looks like a wood grain. I like it a lot. Everything's been screwed together on this knife. You've got a backspacer, so it's not really a flow-through construction, but still easy enough to clean. And if you notice, it's got some blackened liners here, which are really nice. Nice touch, I think. And these liners have actually been milled out, and pretty extensively. So even though this thing weighs like 7 ounces, they tried to knock it down a little bit, and I think it's a good effort. So cool to see them do that, and I really do like the handle. It's just beautifully finished, so smooth. Ergonomics are pretty nice too, as you would expect from a larger knife like this. You've got this finger choil down here, and your hand just sits comfortably back. It's kind of gives you a little more reach. You're set back on the knife, which is cool, but you could also choke up on it if, say, you wanted to start peeling some potatoes or something with this blade. You could do that. There is no jimping, which honestly I don't really think you need a lot of jimping on this knife, again, because it's just so big. And again, considering how beautiful it is, I could see they wanted to take the path that was erring on the side of like a simple, refined elegance rather than just a full-out tactical knife. So totally understand. I think it works. The pocket clip is large. As you can see, it's very large, and it is hardened stainless steel that has been given what looks to be like a black chrome. In fact, this may not even be steel. This might be nickel. I'm not 100% sure. It's really cool looking either way. I like that finish they put on there. Pretty nice. Tip up right hand carry only. No holes for left hand carry, which is kind of a bummer, but when you see the way that they put this clip on there, they actually had to flatten the handle out to accept this large base of the clip. So I can see why they just left it on the right side. Again, you know, erring on the side of keeping this thing looking clean. Deployment is pretty good with this nice large thumb hole. This knife is not quite as smooth yet as my other Benchmades. I might need to break it in a little bit more, and there isn't a lot of weight at the tip, obviously, so I think that might have something to do with just getting it opening and closing as easily as my other knives. It's very smooth though, so I don't want to give the impression that it's not smooth, but on mine I just need to probably break it in a little bit more before I can get it flicking open and closed as fast as my Griptilian. But lockup solid. It's got an axis lock here and a nice big pivot, so very solid knife and nice and smooth deployment. No real complaints with it. Big thumb hole that is actually placed well, and they've carved out some room so you can get at it easily. Very nice. So all in all, I like this knife. Even if it is kind of impractical, the full-size version, I still think it's totally sweet. For $150, I think it's a pretty decent deal too. Benchmade often gets kind of criticized for making knives that are what some would say are overpriced or too expensive. And this is a knife where, I mean, definitely $150 isn't cheap, but you're getting a lot of blade for your buck, and I think it's a pretty good buy. I mean, especially, you have to keep in mind that these are all made in America. They're using premium materials. The fit and finish is awesome. Take a look. Even the hardware, even the little screws have been given that kind of cool chrome, black chrome finish. Even the little screws for the handles here. Everything's so smooth. I think it's worth it. I think it's a very nice knife for the money, and definitely a quality blade. So that's pretty much the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I appreciate your support. So let me know if you have any questions or anything. And until the next review, I guess just have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.